All right, so since I'm hurt, I'm trying to answer a lot of the more common questions that I get asked. More often than not, it's the same like 5 questions that people DM me or leave a comment about. So I'm gonna start off by trying to just like knock this one out, and that is what skaters or skater is like my biggest influence. And I think some of the people that are like on the list might surprise people, because they're definitely not people that come to mind when maybe you watch my skating, but they're definitely people who sort of pushed me in a direction of the way that my skating is for one reason or another. And there's obviously like a bunch of them. There's no really one skater that I think like, oh yeah, like that guy. That guy is why I like to do skating the way that I like to do it. But we're just gonna kind of jump into this. There's gonna be footage of these skaters. I kind of preset a lot of these video parts and a lot of these clips so I can kind of show you how they influenced me and why they get a lot of credit. A lot of them aren't exactly big name pros though. In fact, the majority of them are people that you might not have heard of. So we're gonna start off with a local from an area called Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Now, if you're familiar with who Nick Stain is, he's originally from Germany, I want to say, or no, Russia. Nick the Russian, yeah. He's originally from Russia, and he actually used to be a filmer. I used to go to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and skate with some of those guys up there, and he actually like randomly filmed a clip that ended up being in one of my video parts. It was like him and this other kid Kyle that were like the main filmers. They were already like super good at skating, but they just had a passion for filming. And back then I was definitely like the worst, like I don't even know, like I was just such a kook back then. I was like yeah, like let me get some footage, and I was like so hungry to an obnoxious level, and it was terrible vibes all around. But he was nice enough to film me, and I got some clips, so that was cool. But I would say, you know, him coming up in that area, one of the older kids that I think was an influence on him, I'm assuming, maybe not though, but there was this guy named Luke Kosh. I think I'm saying his last name right, but I have his video part right here. He's a skater who never really like blew up to the level that I had hoped he would. He just, one of those like kind of like no gimmicks, just like incredible skater kind of guys. I have a part, it was like he rode for Five Borough for a second. And then after that, I think he went to Hard Time. He went to a local skate company in Pennsylvania, I want to say. I can't think of the name of the company though. I keep wanting to say Hard Times. I don't think it was Hard Times. He ended up riding for another local company in Pennsylvania. Anyways, I'm going to show you some footage and just kind of talk about why I think it was so influential for me. So he's one of the first skaters that I met in person that I was like, you could watch him skate and be like, oh dude, this guy's got something. And it wasn't necessarily, let's turn down the volume so that doesn't get demonetized, what he did, but it was more so how he did it. And he does a couple tricks in this part that you're just kind of like, oh man, that's crazy that he even like would film that. Actually not this part. This part's actually pretty much through and through incredible. So we're just gonna skip around and I'll talk a little bit about it. this is gonna sound really weird, but I always like the way his forearms looked when he skated. He has like kind of like solid forearms, like really good looking kickflips, like no gimmick to that, no over exaggerated tweak. Just everything about it was, I was very envious of the way he looked on a skateboard. That's insane. If you've ever been there, like that was just like absolutely nuts. Board slide with like a drop on the other side that he decked out. I always like this line because they show the nollie flip and then show him fall on a manual, and then it shows the nollie flip again, and then he lands the manual. And then I like the way he steps off his board on this ollie over bump over rail. Like it's like the little things like that that like really like sell it for me, like this, like, and steps off immediately. I just thought that was like the rawest thing ever. Nollie back nose blunt. At some point in time in this part, he does like a nollie lip slide on a rail that I feel like is just kind of a no-go. Like you're not supposed to nollie lip slide rails. I mean, obviously you can, but it's just like not the coolest trick. That right there, he made nollie lip slide look so cool. Like how did you do that? And just, I don't know, just seeing the way that he just like naturally skated, there was nothing fake about it, but it still looked really good. I just remember like watching this and thinking like, man, like I want that, but I can't have that because my arms suck and I have a shitty natural style, I think. So my next best bet is something else that he has a very good version of, and that's his trick selection. Like he just has like very tasteful tricks on very difficult to skate spots. And if you watch a lot of my older video parts when I was still on the East Coast, I found myself sort of skating a lot of these, it's funny that Love Park pops up right when I said that, but like a lot of these like non-spots, even though they are spots, just like harder to skate. Like watching him skate and seeing him skate in person made me want to skate crappier spots. And I think that in a lot of ways shaped the way that I ended up skating in the long run. Now that I'm in California, everything's easy to skate. So I don't know, maybe that all went to waste, but like that kickflip was so tasteful. He's going so fast and the tail slide pop. Like I remember this part, like, you know, piece by piece. I want to watch the entire thing right now. I wish I could play the song He's Skating to Nina Simone. Like that front nose on that like Fat Boy, like come on, that's just tasteful. Okay, so we're gonna go, that's Nick Terrell. It's another dude who's really good at skating from the area. So let's go to the next part. Let's go to Dennis Busenitz. So everyone knows this is my favorite skater. No, not everyone, but people who watch my channel a lot. I reference Dennis a lot because he's just like the greatest. So he is the exact opposite of what I was growing up. When I was, when I first got sponsored and everything like that, yeah, man, I just like was all about like jumping down stuff and like kind of doing like the more like thrilly tricks. Like, oh, how many stairs was that? Like definitely that kind of kid. Definitely more of like the show-offy type of skateboarding. Nothing out of the ordinary. Definitely skating like the main line, and sometimes trying to like sneak one pass. I remember I shoved a lip to handrail, hoping no one would notice that it was the worst trick ever. But I was like, it's on a handrail, so it's cool. No, it wasn't. It was terrible. But anyways, Dennis Busenitz is just pure style. Once again, no gimmick. But he's kind of like the next level. So like Luke Kosh is like this incredible local skater who has super good style, and here's Dennis Busenitz, almost like the final form of like what Nick possibly, or what Luke could have possibly ended up being if, you know, I think he blew his knee out, and that was like a big part of what ended up happening with his career. He did some sort of injury that like really prevented him from like to keep going. Also, I think he just doesn't care. Like I think that he wasn't like trying to make it in skating as much as he was just really good at skating. And I'm definitely glad that I got to kind of witness a lot of that firsthand. So Dennis Busenitz, this is my favorite Dennis Busenitz part. It's definitely not his best part, but by far my favorite. Just the way the song goes and just the editing and the tricks that he does. And it's filmed with like a not the most HD camera, so it just looks like he's going really fast, even though he obviously is going really fast. But I feel like the higher quality of the camera, the slower it looks like someone's going. And I think when it's like, I don't know, like a little grittier, like I think VX just looks faster. Not that I know that this is VX, I don't think it is actually. But yeah, he just, I think he just like went to Europe or something like that. Well, that's China, I think, or Japan. But he just like flying through. This is the first part that like he was already like in my top 2 favorite skaters, or top 3 favorite skaters. But then I saw this part, I was like, oh yeah, he's #1. He just goes like faster than he needs to, which is another thing that like you might think, well, that obviously didn't influence you. But it makes me skate faster than I probably would if it wasn't for Busenitz. So I'd probably be a stationary carpet skater if it wasn't for him. Like he slammed so hard on most likely what was like that frontside flip. Like that's how fast he was going. Then just like a super tasteful switch backside nose grind. Definitely the reason that I do a lot of my tricks the way I do them. And like his kick flips, like, oh god, I wanted his kick flips for so long. I had the worst kick flips ever until, I don't know, when I moved out here and just like was like, no, I need to like be able to kick flip. Actually, I made a whole video of if you want to be able to tweak your kick flips, there's a video that I have on my channel that's about that. But anyways, I'm like front 5-0 ollie to fakies and stuff like that. A lot of the trick selection that I do definitely is influenced by him. I don't know, like, 180, I love this 180 switch manual. Like, I was really hyped on 180 switch manuals for a minute because of that. This is the line, god, I wish I could do. The back 3 that he does on flat. Ugh, unrelatable, going so fast. Yeah, just, I don't know, this guy had a lot to do with what I picture when I skate, even though it doesn't translate to the way I skate. Like, this guy is more so my motivation to skate than anything, but he definitely keeps me going. And this is probably the only video part that's still in circulation on the videos that I watched today. Like, I literally just watched this, and every once in a while I'll randomly watch like Mark Suchu's cross-continental part, or then other than that, just like way older videos. But yeah, Dennis Busenitz, best skater ever. I don't have to go too much into him because you probably know who he is, best skater ever. Let's see, that's a chest thing. Okay, let's do this one. So this, I feel like a lot of people could have guessed this. Louis Barletta. I think Louis was the first pro skater that I saw that like, it seemed like having fun was at the forefront of his skating, and then like the tricks kind of came secondary. But what really made Louis stand out to me though was like, yeah, he would like, skip forward a little bit. He would do some like goofy tricks in his part, like this line that he did with a broken board. Funny that I rolled my ankle with a broken board. But like, at the same time that he would do like a lot of goofy tricks, that back 5-0 came to a dead stop. Like this, like, I feel like a lot of skaters wouldn't be able to get away with doing like a line like this, and like less with Louis Barletta. But at the same time, he'll also back 180 switch front crook a handrail. So it's like, he's good enough to be a pro skater, but then he almost like exploits that skill for just like goofy stuff. It's almost like if a little kid got his hands on the level of skating that a pro skater got, this is what it would look like. And definitely seeing him skate was just like, oh yeah, like that's right. Like, just, you can have fun with your video part and it'll translate through to being a more enjoyable video part in my eyes. And then you can also try like the harder stuff too, but it's like not all about like, oh, I gotta put out my best part. And like this trick right here, this nose grab tail smack thing. I remember me and all my friends started doing that after this video came out. I actually saw this video for the first times at Four Seasons Skate Park in, I want to say it's in Minnesota. I could be wrong though. The Four Seasons Skate Park, that skate park was cool. I don't know if it's still around or not. But I remember they just got the video in and they played it. And as they're, oh, that was insane. As they were playing it, I remember after Lou Balletta's part came on, it ended in a Jerry Sue's part, and Jerry Sue, it was arguably his best part that he ever put out. Part's insane, but I remember like really wanting him to rewind it so I could watch this part again. Like skating a mini board, but like, yeah, does a back tail on that mini board. And this, the influence of like this type of skating, like, don't get me wrong, people were goofing around and having fun before, but I feel like Louis Barletta influenced like a huge portion of people after this video part that you see in more modern videos. Like, not saying that videos were strictly strict back then and just like trick, but I feel like after this part it just became a little bit more acceptable to have like a mainstream video that, oh, feeble on the ledge, that had more of a fun feel to it and it wasn't so freaking serious. Like how Fakey 5-0 a hubba, like frontside hand plant, like come on. I think that's the one that's in New Jersey that's really hard to skate. That looked terrifying. Feeble 270. I think I was doing that trick on quarter, like this, my most infamous trick ever. I was doing that Feeble 270 on quarter pipes before I saw this, and I remember seeing him do it in his part, and I was like, yes, like, oh my god, like, dude, like one of my favorite skaters did a trick that I sort of kind of do sometimes, except for he did it really tastefully and on an actual street spot, not on a quarter pipe. After seeing this tail block where his foot definitely accidentally came off and he still put it in his part, it made me want to learn how to tail block stuff. And I remember I tried to tail block a handrail and it didn't work out. This line, like the power slide through the leaves, just having fun. Oh, so sick. Moving on to, let's hop over to, you know what, we're just gonna go here. We're gonna go this, we'll do, John Benton does Boston. So now John Benton is a former teammate of mine. We both rode for the Friendship Skateboards. And I knew who he was before I started riding for Friendship, but I didn't pay too much attention to him. I just kind of thought of him as like the slappy guy. Now this is before I was doing slappies. And John is 100% the reason. Like, it wasn't Jason Adams, like it wasn't Louis Barletta. John Benton is 100% the reason that I started doing slappies on ledges, because he was so, they just looked really fluid and comfortable for him. And like I remember when I saw Sergio do a slappy crook. He did slappy crook and he did slappy crook at backsmith. I remember thinking like, oh yeah, like that trick's pretty sick, but like I didn't pay too much mind to it. In fact, I wasn't like even a huge fan of it. I was like, oh, like that's like kind of a thing. But then seeing John do all the slappy variations, like his frontside slappy 50-50s and stuff like that, I was just like, oh man, like I want a piece of that. And so it's gotten to the point where like I got really into slappies after I rolled my ankle and I couldn't ollie, so I like, that's kind of why I ended up learning a bunch of slappy tricks. But it got to the point where like I would learn a slappy variation and then like John would learn it after me, to where it was just like, he influenced me to a point of where I am actually influencing him back. Like, I think that's so rad. Like, he pretty much taught himself how to do a trick, because I would have never skated that way had it not been for John. And I think this is just sort of like some random selfie stuff. He always would like selfie clips. I also started selfieing clips for Instagram, like after watching John do it a bunch. Let's see if we can skip through to some. Man, I wish I could get some like random slappy stuff. Like, this stuff is all cool though. Like, this is just like him goofing off and having a good time, you know? Like, he's, oh, that was a cool tail smack. He definitely wasn't one of those skaters that was like about being like thrilling as much as like he was having fun while he was skating, and it translated to it was fun to watch him. And it's not for everyone, but it sure as hell is for me. I watch skating like this now and I'm just like, yes, like that is exactly what I want to do. I want to go skateboard. And to me, that is the biggest, I don't know, biggest like attraction for me to pay attention to a skater, if it makes me want to go skate. I don't really care about if someone does like the hardest trick anymore. Like, I give credit where credit is due, but to me a lot of times like some of the tech skating has gotten so foreign to me, where like the flip ins and flip outs are so, I don't know, complicated, that it might as well be mega ramp stuff. Like, I appreciate it for what it is, but it doesn't motivate me and I'm not excited about it. And mega ramp stuff honestly might as well be motocross stuff, because once again I'm just like, yeah, that's really gnarly, but I don't know nothing about it. It doesn't really get me super hyped up. But this gets me super stoked. Like, this makes me want to go skate around my neighborhood. This makes me want to let my ankle be healed right now magically and just go skate around Long Beach and set up some tripod stuff and try to get more of a, I don't know, just like a good feeling skate session. And he also sort of has this vibe where it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's not like he's filming to show you what he can do. He's like filming and kind of creating like this montage and this feeling that's like, in my eyes, really exciting to watch. It's like, I guess someone could argue it's like more on the artistic side, but just, yeah, watching him skate, like, definitely feeling like I was kind of getting in a rut where I was just like, oh man, like, I don't want to like skate rails that much anymore. Like, I keep getting hurt. I started having less fun at skate parks because I was like, it almost felt like I was going there to like learn new tricks or just like get better at skating. And then like sometimes your go-to tricks don't really work out. And like paying a lot of attention to like what John was doing was very much like, oh yeah, like that's right, just go skate. And then, you know, if you learn something, you learn something. And I think if you go about it this way, when like learning tricks comes more naturally, it keeps your attitude in a better spot to where you don't get frustrated, which in my opinion makes you learn tricks a lot faster. Like, I mean, look at all these. Oh, I stole that trick. I stole the shit out of that trick, the Feeble to Hurricane. I remember when I saw him do that for the first time, I was just like, oh man, like, what a good idea. And I honestly, I'm not positive if he, because the reason I started riding deck rails was because I was taken to the Home Depot curb spot by Tim Olson, and I remember he was just like, yeah, you're gonna want deck rails to skate this spot. And he gave me some like stick-on deck rails that had like tape on the bottom of them. And he gave me some to take home after that. And then like, you know, watching like John skate after that, like with the deck rails and all the variations that he was learning, I was like, oh man, like I kind of want to like get some real deck rails and like actually give this thing like a chance. And I've never not ridden deck rails since then. Since I put on the deck rails for the first time, they have never come off. I always ride deck rails. The only time that I won't have a deck rail on my board is if like my deck rails break off and I can't get my hands on another one. Just, I don't know, it just feels really comfortable to me. But yeah, like, I mean, this video part's like 4 years old, and he's only gotten better. You should definitely check out his Instagram. Just doing like really creative stuff. He writes for Fancy Lads, which is like arguably one of the most fun companies. Like, to me, like, I think of them sort of like, man, I don't, like, if skaters focused, instead of doing like the hardest tricks, they focused on like showing you how much fun you can have on a skateboard. Like, they were like, okay, how much fun can you actually have on a skateboard? Go out and do that. Like, that's what Fancy Lad is to me. I was very lucky to do a podcast with them. I'll link that in the description, where, you know, we just talk about skating. We talk about John Benton. We talk about Matt Tomasello. I used to be teammates with him when we rode for 1031 skateboards. And yeah, just really rad dudes over there. I love what those guys are doing over there. So if you get a chance, definitely give them a follow, check out the boards, maybe buy one of their boards. If you go to their website, you can actually buy their skateboard company. I think that it's like $1 million or something like that, but they actually have their company for sale on the site, which I thought was pretty rad. And then aside from this, some very honorable mentions. Growing up, the local hometown hero was this guy named Sketch. His name's David Rose. And he was like the dude who like I would go out skating with, who I was just like, oh man, like this guy, like we would all kind of like skate and like, you know, compare ourselves to this guy. Like, man, like I just learned this trick. Now Sketch would do it switch, but you know, this might be a trick that he would do. I feel like we all found ourselves sort of like comparing ourselves to Sketch, which was, you know, probably not the healthiest thing, but, you know, we were all like 17, 18 or whatever. But like the way he would like skate handrails, just like to skate them, like he was the first skater I ever saw skate a handrail where like no one filmed it. He just like was doing it, like an actual handrail, not like, you know, a little 3-stair or something like that. I remember we went to this 8-stair rail, graveyard rail, and he was just skating it, like he 5-0'd it and 50'd it, lipped it. I think he not like 50-50'd it, just for fun, just was doing it. I just remember being like, oh, whoa, like, people can do that? Like, that's a level of skating that someone can get to? I'm gonna just keep letting this Benton footage play, actually. But yeah, he was definitely a big influence. Another one, Gumby, was sort of like, I don't know, we'd skate together a lot, and he was definitely way better at like the cooler tricks. Like he would like nollie crook handrails and backlip handrails, and I was more into the I don't know, like I got into Smith kick flips, and I would ollie stuff all the time though. I was really into big ollies, but just kind of like having that healthy rivalry with him where like neither of us were trying to be better than the other one, but it was like, oh, he did this, so like I'm gonna try to do that. That was definitely a big one. Tim and Josh Slappy, they were my best friends growing up skating, and still hold them very dear to my heart. Definitely very motivating people. Skating in my basement, they used to come over and we would skate for hours on end, just flat ground game after flat ground game of skate after flat ground game of skate, and that was just like that was a big moment for me. Any other than that, like, you know, obviously like current motivations right now, definitely Haley. Like I started doing switch tail slides because of Haley. It's definitely fun seeing like what kind of tricks that I do that like she picks up, and the tricks that she does that I pick up, and then we kiss. I don't know, it's pretty cool layout. But yeah, you know, that's really it. Those are like the main people that come to mind. Another thing that I would, yeah, no, that's basically it. So I hope that answered the question, who influences me. Until next time.